Hello everyone, this is Devlagerio. Welcome to the fourth episode of how to make an IO game. In this episode, I am going to teach you how to start a Node.js server, and in the end, we're gonna have a template that we're gonna use for any other IO game that we are going to start making. Let's go. Alright, the first thing we do, we open the project up. So I'm gonna open folder, go to my ep4. Okay, if you're wondering where I'm getting this code from, you can download the same code on the episode 3. So I'm gonna continue from the episode 3 project files. So I open that, I go to client folder, go to JS folder, and open this sketch.js. So we're gonna get rid of something here. So I don't need this array, I don't need this my object, I don't need this global variable. Those are the things we don't need to. So I no longer want to print anything on the screen. I'm gonna get rid of this as well. Also this. Okay, we're all set to go. Now I'm gonna go on the left side, I'm gonna go to the server folder and open the server.js. If you notice, this is exactly same as the sketch.js, no difference. They are both JavaScript files, but this one is happening on the server side. This is going to be our server. So we're gonna code a little bit about Node.js in here. Remember that if you remember, Node.js is JavaScript using JavaScript language, so we can write any JavaScript code here, but in order to make it a server application, we need to set it up first. So in order to set the server up, we have to import some libraries in here, and for that libraries, I'm gonna tell you what are those libraries exactly and how we import them inside the server.js. Because if you remember, on the client side, we did not import the library in the JS folder, in the JS file. We just imported libraries in our HTML, just like that, P5js library and a sketch.js, and in the sketch.js file we only use it. But on the server side, it's a little bit different story. So we're gonna have variables for our libraries. How do we import the what kind of libraries do we need here? We need the HTTP library and path library. I'm gonna show you how to import them right now. The first thing we do, we're gonna give it a var path is equal to require. I'm gonna call it path. Okay, this is how we import a library in Node.js. How does that work? So you already know about variables. Okay, but now Node.js has something called require, and this, whenever you say require, it means that you're gonna use a library. Okay, so we are going to use the path library, and we're giving it a name, and this name is different with this because this is actually a string, which is a text. Computer doesn't know anything about it, but this is the name of the variable. So we are using the path library, and we are giving it a name. The thing is, we haven't downloaded the path library yet. The good news is this: the path library is already implemented in Node.js, so we don't need to download anything or just go to their website. It's just a part of Node.js itself. We're just importing the library here. Okay, there is another library that I'm gonna bring in, which is HTTP. We're gonna again require. You can give it any name you want, but I'm gonna call it HTTP. Exactly the same name as the library itself. So it's the HTTP library. It's simple as that. The next thing, I will tell you what they do in a moment. I'm gonna first import the libraries, then I'm gonna talk for each of them. What are those exactly, and why we use them here. The next one is express. For express, And the war express is equal to require, like before, express. You already know what express is. Express is responsible for sending and receiving files. So whenever some client connects to our computer, we're gonna send them the file of the game. We are going to send them the client folder actually. How the server sends the client folder? Well, it uses Express library to do that. And for this library, we need to download it. So this library is not included in Nodejs. We need to download it. I'm gonna download it in a moment, but one more library we go for is var, of course, socket IO is equal to require socket.io library. It is again, you already know what it is. So I told you in the first in the episode number 1, the socket.io library is responsible for sending and receiving information, data, numbers, objects, variables. If you're gonna send those to client, you use socket.io library, but if you wanna send images, files, folders, you use Express library. Alright, we need to download it. Okay, now let's talk what they does exactly. I'm gonna talk a little bit about them. Okay, the path library. The path library is usually used for giving. Okay, let me make it more clear for you. For example, okay, these are the videos I have. For example, I'm gonna go here. Okay, what is this? On my computer, what is okay. What have I done? Okay, what is this exactly? Okay, my folder. Where are these located inside my computer? Okay, I have the location of them. When I click up here, it is on ep drive, classes folder, and ep4. The thing is, how am I getting this inside the Node.js? How in my code am I going to know what is the path of my file? So, well, that is why we use the path library. That is going to help us to find the path of different folders. The thing is, in our own computer, we already know this is on, for example, on my computer, this is on E drive, classes, and ep4. But whenever you're going to in the end, once you finished your game and you're gonna upload your game in some host, you're gonna upload you don't know where your files are. You don't know the location. You don't have it because you don't have access to this PC or my computer or anything. You basically cannot know that, and that is why the path library also helps you, and it will automatically find the folders that your current project is inside. So that's for that. Now let me comment it. This will find the path of any folder of our game. Alright, and the second one is the HTTP. Simple. HTTP is simple. Because you're going to have an online game, you're gonna use HTTP protocol. HTTP protocol is gonna be a server, communication between client and server. Somebody wants to connect to somebody else using the HTTP protocol. So we're not using the LAN or anything. We're gonna use HTTP, which is for the World Wide Web. Everybody are using it. Any website you see on the internet, they are using HTTP, and it is on the address on the when I click up here, it is the for example, as you can see, the YouTube has an HTTPS in the start. So HTTP is basically what we're gonna use to start the server, the actual server. So for starting an online server, this is for starting an online server. That's it. Now, let me comment these two. Sending and receiving files, and socket.io is for sending and receiving information, or better said, data. Okay. There is a thing here. These two libraries need to be installed. or better say download it before we're gonna use them. Otherwise, we're gonna have an error. So we basically need two things. First, we need somewhere to see errors of Node.js. Then we need somewhere to install the libraries and start the server. How we are going to do that? Okay, there is a simple way of doing that. We're gonna do a little bit of hacking here. You just go to your project folder. Mine is on, I already said it's on E classes ep4. Just click on up here, and instead of this, just write cmd, just like that. And the command prompt is open for you. This is the command prompt of computer. If you have, there are many ways of navigating through the files using the cmd, but this is the quickest way. I will show you another way as well in a moment. Okay, in order to install the libraries, actually before I install the libraries, let me show you another way of opening the cmd. So on the Visual Studio, there is a simple way. Simply on the top, you can go to, I don't remember, you can go to terminal and click on new terminal, and once you click it, there is a terminal, there is a cmd on your folder for you. Make sure that you open the folder first, and then you have this terminal on the button here. As you can see, it is on classes ep4. That's what I want. Now I can install the libraries, or this is exactly same as the console of Google Chrome that we already see. Let me open that. So if I press F12 here, I see this is the console of Google Chrome. So we are having the same thing on our Node.js server. In order to install a library in Node.js, you have to say npm install. By the way, npm is a package. Is a package manager which is already inside. Whenever you install Node.js, this will automatically be installed on your computer, so no need to be worried about that. Okay. So npm was a package manager which is automatically installed by Node.js itself. After npm, you say npm install. Make sure you are in the right path. npm install the name of your library, which is socket.io. Oh, I'm on 4C. Socket.io. Hit enter. We wait for it to install. Now that is installed, we go ahead and say npm install the other library, which was Express. In the future, we're gonna have maybe MongoDB library as well, but now npm install Express as well. MongoDB is for database. We wait for that. Okay, now I have the Express installed, also Socket.io installed properly on my computer, so I don't need these two lines anymore. I just want to write it here, npm install package name or library name. Okay, I have my library set up. Now we're gonna go for the next lines of code here. We are going to use HTTP and path in order to create the server up. Let's see how to do. First of all, we need to find the current location of our game, current location of the project files inside any computer that we are in. We don't know where it is located once we upload our game, so we use this kind of way to find it. We say var public maybe path is equal to path.join. Oh yeah, I'm gonna give it a name, maybe dir name, and it's gonna be client, simple as that. Okay, let me talk a little bit about this part. These are the things that you don't need to remember this. You don't need to know everything about these things. I don't even know this stuff. I just do it because I do it a lot. It's somehow in my mind, but there is no shame in just go ahead and looking at them. Even I sometimes forget it. I go always check this stuff. I never remember them. I never save them in my mind. So you don't you just this is only once. From now it's just a matter of copy and pasting. But let me tell you what's just happening. I'm gonna joining two paths together. Whenever you say path the join, it's basically mean that I'm going to give you a little simple of path. I know this path, and you give me another path. Okay, what does this underline dir name does? It finds the current location of your game files. Actually, for example, mine is on the E classes ep4. This, okay, computer will automatically get that and paste it here. Okay, it's like that. Whenever you say this, it's gonna go ahead and find this for you and write it here. And whenever you say join, it means that I have a little piece of path. I know from here. Okay, I know from here, but find this and add this to it. It's basically like it. Let me show you something. Okay, it's like this. I have the current path of my game, which is here. I'm sorry, it's gonna be actually in the server folder. Whenever you say dash underline dir name, it's gonna give you this on the server folder. It's gonna find the server folder because we are in the server file. The current path is here. Okay, and you're adding this on top of it. It's basically it will be the result of this will become like this. It's like this. It's gonna copy it here and it's gonna copy it on top of it. And what these two does, it means that go back twice. Okay, one folder behind you. It means that go back. Whenever you say this, it means that one folder above it. So let's go ahead and watch what happens. Right now we are in the server folder. This is what dir name gives us. This is what dir name gives us. Whenever we say this, okay, it basically go back once. Okay, and then after that we say okay client folder, and this is the client folder, and we are basically getting the path of this file. Simple. All right. The next line that we are going to do is var port is going to process .inv .port I'm sorry .port or we have I will talk what happens here. So basically this is if you look at it, you can see that this will become a variable. So I store the result of this inside a variable. Then I have another variable called port. I will tell you what it is in a moment, or it can be 2000 maybe. It can be any number more than 2000. So that's it. And then after that I'm gonna say var app is equal to express. Right now I'm using if you remember, we just installed the Express library and we called it Express. Right now I am initializing the Express. It means that I'm gonna use Express here. I initialize it Express and I give it a name called app. And if you look at it correctly, Express is somehow a function. Okay, the whole Express library is wrapped up inside a function, so we need to call that function in order to use the Express. So why I call it app? Because Express website call it app. That is why I do it as well. And then after that we have var server is equal to the http dot create server on Visual Studio is helping me, and I pass into the app because server is asking me, okay, who is responsible for sending the files of the project, maybe the HTML files, JavaScript files, and I say okay, it's the app. And after that we have the IO for the socket IO library. I'm gonna call the socket IO, and I'm gonna pass into the server. What does this do? I will go back to these lines in a second. Let's continue. App dot use express dot static and public path. Simple as that. Server and by the way, server dot listen port and port and function. I'm gonna keep it more simple. So I can say if computer successfully reached to this point, we can say console.log console.log server started. Yeah. Okay, let's see what is exactly happening here. I create a public path and I give it two paths. The first one, it should be underline $name. This one automatically finds the current path of this file. Then I go one file above and I say, okay, find the client folder. And so this variable is basically holding the path of client folder. Then I give it a port. What is a port? The port is www.anynameYouWant.com, like that. Okay, for example, you have a website and in that website you have multiple games. How the computer is gonna manage those? Okay, you have to give them different ports. One game is on the port 1, the other is on the port 2. Otherwise they conflict and it won't work. Okay, that's how you upload your game on internet. Okay, so it's like a YouTube channel with different channels. How do you recognize different channels? By their ID. So this is gonna be the ID of your game wherever you upload your game. So this process.environment.port, it means that we don't know the port. It will automatically find the port of your application and store it into this variable. But if you're on your computer, you haven't uploaded yet, you're gonna give it a port by your hand so you know it. I'm gonna give it 2000. You can give it 3000. You 3000. You can give it any number you want, pretty much more than 2000. Better said. So I'm gonna give it a 2000. This is for testing, and you will in a few moments you will know where we use this. After that, this should be port. After that, we are using initializing Express library, and we give it a new name called app. Then we are having another variable. In here, we are going to actually start the server up. Here we are going to run the server. So we say, okay, HTTP library, which we required here. We are going to create the server, and who is responsible for sending and receiving the files of our game, and that is the app library, and that is the app variable, which is initialized by the Express library. I know it's hard, but it's only once. Once you have this, any other game that you have, you're gonna use the same thing. And then in the next line, we use socket IO library, again, just like Express, another function. And I have already taught you this. This function gets a parameter, so we have to pass an argument for this parameter. And what that argument should be? It should be the server. What it said basically, it said, okay, in order to run socket IO, because we need to send and receive information and data, okay, what server do I connect to? Who do I connect to whom? Socket.io should know that, and that is all happen to be inside the server variable that we have here. So that's it, and we call it IO because later on we're gonna use it IO. You might ask, why IO name? Why the name of IO? Why is that? So that is because socket.io website, socket.io website named it like that. When you go to their documentation, this is the name they chose for their library. And after that we say app.use express.static public path. What does it mean? What does this line do? You don't need to what it is exactly, but to be clear, app is the express library. We are using the app, which is express library, and we are saying that whenever you say use, it's gonna send. We are going to specify the main folder that is going to be sent to the client side, and that is of course our we use the express. That's a static. It means that we're gonna give it a static file location that is public path that we have before. This is basically, this sends client folder to each client who connects. All right, and then after that, instead of this, I'm gonna make it a little bit more appropriate. So I should say server.listen. I should give it the port and then a callback, just like that. And then this should happen inside here. You don't need to know that much about it, but that's the way it is. But I can also say plus port. You're gonna know it. Maybe on this. What does this line do? It means that basically server is gonna be started on the port that we give it. Maybe it is the 2000, or maybe it's the automatic one that we don't know about. Okay, so the server is gonna be start on which port? On the port that we give it. It is 2000. Whenever we are as a developer testing on our own computer, we give it 2000, and then we do a callback. I'm not going to cover the callbacks here. I will cover callbacks in next few episodes, not now. Maybe in the next episode once we are using socket.io. So that's a good thing. Right now you know that if your server starts successfully on this port, it's gonna console a message on here on our terminal, and it's gonna set server started on what we plus it, we add another we add the port here, so we know which is the port that our server is started on. Woo! With that being said, let's go ahead and start the server. Let's see how to start it and if it works. Okay, in order to start the server now, I click on my terminal and I say not the name of our folder, which path, the path of our folder. Okay, because this is the file that I need to be started as the main file. Okay, this is the file that I'm gonna start with Node.js. This is the Node.js file, so I need to give it the path of this. Right now we are inside the ep4 folder. I need to say, okay, go to server folder, and there is the server.js. So I say not server. Make sure that you install the Node.js from their website. Not server slash server.js, and this is the file that we have. Hit enter. Let's see. Okay, server is a start. Oh my god, what have I done? Don't care. Server started on 2000. Maybe better set port, huh? Port. I hit save. I click here. Oh, okay. Once you change, so as you can see, I just added. I wanted to add some more string here. I wanted to say server started on. I'm gonna say port. And in order to see our changes, whenever you change anything on the server side, it's not like Google Chrome. In Google Chrome, you go refresh the screen and you see your changes. But in server side, you need to stop and start the server always. So once you change something, you have to click on your console, hold Control and press C, so the server is stopped, and then with the up arrow, you can find your last your last console that your last command that you wrote in console. So not server.js. I restart it. So as you can see, our changes is applied. Whew. I know it was a lot, but I'm gonna comment these lines for you, and then I'm gonna wrap this section up with adding the socket.io library on the client side as well. So we are going to have a complete template to start. Okay, server started on port 2000. We are gonna go here. Okay, the public path. What does it do? It simply adds two paths together. Okay, like for example, I have this. I have my e, and I have it joins maybe class client, maybe like that. So it will be is equal to what? E slash class client. Okay, that is the that is what the path join does. It joins two paths, and here okay, this is the port that our server is using on a computer. So this is important to note that you can have multiple Node.js servers on one computer. You have, for example, you have 3 servers, and one of them is on port 2000, the other is on port 2001, the other is on port 2003. You should always make sure that you don't use the same port on each application, or it conflicts with other applications that is installed on your computer. Okay, this we initialize express library, and we call it app. In here we create and run we create the server, and the file responsibility is on app parentheses express library. Okay, and the other one is that connecting the socket.io library to our server, and then after that we do this. I already said that, and here we run the server and we make sure it is started on the port. Okay, and that's it. Now I'm gonna hit save, go to we have socket.io on the server side, but we don't have socket.io on the client side, so we need to add that in order to complete our template. Okay, I'm gonna click on index. In here I need to add another, because I'm gonna add socket.io library in our index HTML file as well. I'm gonna use it on client side as well. How do I add it? Above the sketch.js, maybe under P5js, or maybe above it. It must be above the sketch.js. So make sure that that's working. Make sure you do that. You create another script. You give it a *c, just like above. The path should be I'm sorry, slash socket.io socket.io.js. Yeah, that's it. Let me go back. I have it here, I think. So we're gonna test it. We're gonna test it in a few seconds. I need to close it as well. Script. I'm gonna hit save. I'm gonna stop and start the server. I'm gonna open the Google Chrome. Okay, now the cool part is gonna happen here. First of all, I'm gonna open the console using F12 or Control Shift I or right click inspect. Then I'm gonna go ahead and make sure you run the server first. So server is running. I go to Google Chrome. I'm gonna connect to my application. How do I do that? Above here, I'm gonna say localhost colon 2000, the name of your port. So whenever you're going to test your game on your own computer, you're gonna say localhost 2000. Because this is your port. If you have another application, you use another port for this. I hit enter. Okay, everything is working fine. If the socket.io would not connect, we would see an error here. So I assume it is connecting. Okay, I guess that's it for today. Don't care about this error. We're gonna fix that maybe in next few sessions. It's a common error. I will fix it in next session for you, so you won't see it anymore. Don't care about that. don't see it. So that was it for today. Right now, we are successfully connected to the server using localhost without any errors. Let me show you something else. If the server is not running, just like that, I hit Control C on the terminal, so the server is stopped. I'm gonna, with Google Chrome, I'm gonna refresh on this localhost 2000 and see what happens. As you can see, this site can't be reached, so that's happening. But if I run the server, I again hit enter here. I'm in the game and I have successfully sent the files of our index.html, and we have the my test game here. So notice that we are not anymore going to client and double click or drag and drop index.html here. That's not gonna work anymore. Let me show you. If I drag and drop it here, I hit F12, there should be an error. Yes, I see a socket.io error because socket.io is saying that, okay, I don't know what server to connect because we are not connecting to the localhost 2000. We are not connecting to the port of our Node.js server. We need to actually get the game files from the server. So we need to always say localhost 2000, just like that, in order and no errors. So we are successfully connected. That's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it's a little bit confusing, maybe on the server side, but I'm going to. Oh, by the way, this will log something to the console, to the terminal. Let us say it. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna talk about these things millions of times in future episodes. But for now, we have a server up and running. We have our client up and running. We have our everything set. Our libraries, P5js library and socket.io library on the client side set. Express and socket.io library on the server side set. Server successfully started. We have everything. This is gonna be our template. Any other game that you are going to start making, this is the template. Copy and paste it. Start coding your game. In the next episode, I am going to cover callbacks in functions and how to communicate between client and server using socket.io. Thank you very much, everybody. If you like this video, consider subscribing and don't forget to click on that notification button so you will know when the next video will be uploaded. Goodbye.